it's not as glamorous as, I thought it would be.
No.
We do a lot. Hi everyone, happy Friday. So today's question is, what are the biggest misconceptions about real estate as a career?
I feel like there's a lot.
Oh yeah.
I was lucky in the way that I started as a real estate assistant when I was like a teenager, so I feel like I maybe had less misconceptions going into it just because I had been around it so much. But like, I don't know, the amount of like chores you actually end up doing is like
it's stupid.
like the amount of like cleaning we do.
Yeah.
And like I know a lot of like I always see realtors like shoveling snow. Like that's just our life.
I've done that for a showing. I'm like, oh, there's a showing, there was a snowfall. I'm like, well, gotta go shovel.
Yeah, like I feel like the amount of chores we do,
it's a lot.
Like much more than I had anticipated. Like scrubbing stuff before we take pictures or before we show a place.
It's always picture day where we're like, where's the paper towel? Grab me cleaner, It's like, can I just like fold your, or like make your bed? And like, we just,
like reorganizing all the towels and and also like a lot of like Victoria taking pictures and I'm holding like 8-foot tall teddy bear and like a lantern and a watering can, and I'm just standing there in the next room like waiting. A lot of that.
Or even with like the laser pointer and cats.
Oh yeah.
Just keeping pets away, I guess, is another thing we have to do. But I think like going on that, also like when it comes to photos and like presenting the home, one thing that I thought was like we would be interior designers as well. Like I'm like, oh, well, I know a lot about this. I'm like, that's going to be so handy. But like most times like people don't care, and you're like, oh, like yellow pillows would look really good. They're like, cool, I want to list in 3 days. Like it doesn't matter what you think, So that's something that like I went into and I'm like, that'll be like so helpful, but no.
Not unless you're like staging a whole house.
No, which is like
so
once in a blue moon, it's like really, really useful. But most times it's just like it needs to look clean and needs to look nice.
Yeah, lots of people are just still living in their houses when they're for sale, right? So like, you just have to use their own stuff. Like we'll help them with like like moving things around if need be, but
decorating a little bit or adding plants. That's like our number one thing. It's like, oh, you could use some greenery in here.
That's one of the big things.
I think another one is that it's not as glamorous as I thought it would be.
No.
We do a lot, like going on the chore path, but also like some of the like gross stuff we've had to do is like it's not okay, but it's fine, we'll do it.
But like sometimes like you have, so say you're at a showing and it's vacant and the water's off, but your client's 4-year-old decides to go and use the bathroom anyway. Like who do you think is scooping that out of the toilet and cleaning it with whatever you can find in your car? It's the realtor. So keep an eye on your kids at showings. But
also, if you are a realtor, always have paper towel, always have like wet wipes or something, because we've had to deal with that and it's not fun.
And I would say like lots of like just getting super dirty. Like if we're at an acreage and it just rained, like we're sitting outside of our cars with like wet wipes and paper towels, like trying to get our shoes like not super caked with mud before we start driving. Our cars go through a lot in this business.
The amount of shoe changes we do is another thing. Like sometimes you're like doing a nice, like showing a beautiful home and you like want to wear heels or you want to wear like nice sandals, but then you go and show an acreage like 40 minutes later and you're like, well, I got my rain boots and stuff. So you're like, you like always have to have like multiple pairs of shoes in your car, or you're like showing an acreage, but it's a nice house, but you're like, but I need sandals. So I like look nice. And I remember the one time we were showing that house in Birds Hill and it was like beautiful house with these like great clients. And then it was like, I think like 10 acres, and we were walking, and I didn't have anything other than my like stilettos. And he's like, as if you do this. I'm like, oh yeah, it's no problem. Meanwhile, I'm just like blistered up. Like, this is so painful. But I'm like, no, let's go look at every angle of the acreage, you know? So yeah.
That's definitely like, I feel like unless you're working in rural areas a lot, you might not realize that people want to go and like explore the entire property.
Yeah.
Even if it's pitch black, it doesn't matter. Snow up to your waist, doesn't matter.
It does
like
not
we were
matter.
going and walking around.
Yeah.
So yeah, we know what to wear now. But I'd say at the beginning it was like, oops.
Yeah.
No.
You're like, I'm gonna wear a pencil skirt, and you're like, oh, it's a crawl space, and you're like, well, I guess I'm going down. You know, like.
Yeah, actually, like the other thing would be like basements.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that Manitoba, obviously we have like structural issues, like foundations are a problem because of our
like
severe,
drastic weather changes.
Yeah, like the winters we have, and then whatever. But like there are a lot of basements where you'll just like walk into it and like the bottom is covered in water. Or the one time it was like I don't know if you were there, but it was like full of mouse skeletons. Like it was like a little mouse graveyard in their basement where they like still went down there to do laundry, but would just like step around them, I guess. And I was like, oh, like, can I get my shoes to come down here? Yeah, sure. Thanks.
I've like almost rolled my ankle, like almost stepping on a dead mouse, and I'm like, oh no, and like stepping over it. Yeah, that's like, that's a crazy thing that, or you're like, there's no rail, and then you'll go to like put your hand on the ledge, and you're like, oh, that's like all mouse poop. So,
or even like, remember that one house? There were birds flying around in the upstairs. Oh my god! I got a text from a client or from an agent because they were showing one of our listings, and there's like, there's a bird. I think it was a dead bird at the like in the bathtub around the floor or something. And I was like, oh god. So I went there. Like, what am I gonna do? And I'm like walking around, and there's like 3 more birds like living that were just like in the house. I guess like one of the like vents on the roof like wasn't properly secure. So I was literally there was a screen from a window that wasn't put on, and I went and opened one of the windows, and I just started like going around with the screen, and birds are flying everywhere, but I'm like making sure that they go towards the window, and they all ended up flying out, and I closed it and whatever. But I was like, how is this my job? Like, how am I like a bird wrangler in one of my listings?
Yeah. I don't
like, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Because you don't want birds in a listing.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. I'm like trying to think of, there's been so many things we've had to do that it's just like, what am I doing? Like, why, like, how do people wear suits every day and dresses? And I'm like in a crawl space, like crawling through gravel, and you're like, yeah, there's no knob and tube. You know, like you're just doing your most all the time.
And your clients are just standing up there like, nice, okay, thanks. Like, I'm covered in like cobwebs and God knows what else. Yeah, there's a lot of like, I don't know, dirty work, I guess.
Yeah, so much. And I mean, not for everyone, but for us, we're willing to do it and find out the answers and look in the attic and go under the deck and go in the crawl space just to like figure out and see the house. So
makes for a good story usually.
So yeah, I think if anything, real estate is not glamorous. We don't wear high heels. We don't like wear these cute little outfits all the time. Most of the time we're in, you know, clothes that we're willing to get dirty in, but
snow boots and
parkas and everything. But yeah, it's fun nonetheless.
Yeah, it is. We still love it.